I did everything the fitness industry told me to do. Cold plunges, 15,000 steps a day, strength training, high protein. I did it all. And I gained an extra 10 pounds. But then my acupuncturist asked me one simple question that changed everything. And I lost 8 pounds in just 2 weeks. If you've been doing all the right things, but your scale won't budge, this video could be your game changer. So stay with me. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Carrie Stone and this is Carrie On. And today we're going to carry on about how I overcame the battle of the bulge because of one simple question. But before we dive in, I need to give you a disclaimer. I want you to know that I was monitored and assisted by medical professionals throughout this whole process. And I didn't do anything extreme. I did not use any weight loss shots or pills. I did this all at home with most of the things that I already had here in my home. And I know that it's recommended to only lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. And most of the time, I fully agree with that. But my body obviously needed these changes because it responded beautifully. Now, different bodies respond differently, and I do not want to trigger anyone. But I really do want to share my numbers with you because I feel like that makes it a little more real for you as you're watching. And I like to see true numbers. So I don't want to trigger anyone by sharing that because what my overweight number is could be your dream number for losing weight. But we are all built so differently. One great example is my daughter. She and I have never been the same weight since she's been an adult. I have always been 20 pounds lighter than she is. And that has bothered her as we've gone through her adult years. But I've always explained to her, we are built completely differently. We may have the same face, but our bodies are complete opposites. I am all legs, skinny, long legs. My daughter is very proportionately built and her legs are stacked like runner's legs. And she is very long-waisted. So she carries weight in her upper body much better than I do in my short-waisted body. And so we are finally the same weight, and yet she looks great and her weight is perfect for where she is in her life. And 2 weeks ago, I was officially 20 pounds overweight. So different bodies respond differently. And one of the big differences is also the fact that I'm very small boned. Like you can see, you can touch my fingers around my wrist very easily. I am very small boned. My daughter's very medium boned. So your bone structure is going to make a big difference too. So please do not get angry or insecure because of my numbers. This video is just my personal experience. I am not a doctor. I am not a dietitian. I am not telling you to try any of this. I was just really excited that I finally broke through the weight loss struggle that I had been experiencing. And I thought it might help somebody out there because I've been watching all the videos. I've been applying all the stuff that I find in these videos, and I gained an extra 10 pounds. So I hope this will help you. So here's what happened. I already needed to lose 9 to 11 pounds. I had said this for a while. Nobody listened to me until I did the in-body scale. And then the in-body scale told my doctor I needed to lose 9 to 11 pounds. Then I was believed. So I had been working so hard at losing this 9 to 11 pounds. I was doing everything. I was even submerging myself in freezing cold water. I mean, I was desperate to lose this weight. And yet, doing all the right stuff, in March, I suddenly started gaining more, and then more, and then more, until I was 10 pounds more than my original 9 to 11 pounds. Ugh. Yes, I was frustrated. And I went into my acupuncture appointment very frustrated. And I looked at my acupuncturist and I said, if I don't lose this weight in 2 weeks, I will have to buy all new clothes for my trip. I already had to go out and buy a new dress for a wedding because I had nothing that fit except for one black dress. So to say I was frustrated would have been an understatement. So the cold plunges, the heat exposure, the 15,000 steps a day, the high protein diet, wearing the weighted vest, rebounding, strength training, drinking 100 ounces of water a day, and I had even implemented trying to eat 53 grams of carbs per meal because that is what I was told I needed as a woman over the age of 50. 53 grams of carbs per meal. Now, I was struggling with that, and I was not eating close to 53 grams of carbs per meal because I just couldn't seem to get that amount of carb. And thank God I didn't, because had I done that, I would have probably gained more than 10 pounds. I was so frustrated because I was doing all of these things and committing myself like religiously to do all of these things to lose the 9 to 11 pounds, and then to look down at the scale and see another 10 pounds. Are you kidding me? I felt like my body was working against me no matter what I did. But then on July 11th, my acupuncturist asked me one simple question. How many carbs do you eat in a day? And of course, I declared what I have declared for many years. I eat very low carb. I've been trying to add more carbs because the doctors told me to add more carbs, but I eat generally very low carbs because I'm a celiac and because carbs tend to go right to my belly. And she said, yeah, but you've mentioned beets, strawberries, raspberries, granola, and I'm just wondering, how many carbs are you eating? And so she told me that she's been running this metabolic breakdown program for years now, and she's had several of her clients who have struggled with chronic illness who get into their 50s and find that their sweet spot for carbs is 30 to 50 grams a day. And she suspected that I might be one of those people. So she told me to go home and just figure out how many carbs I was eating per day. And then she also wanted me to test my blood sugar and my ketones every morning. Well, let me tell you, that changed everything. Because I had been tracking protein religiously. I had been like always trying to make sure I got more than 100 grams of protein. And I had never thought to track how many carbs I ate because I thought I ate low carb. I assumed because I was eating healthy, everything was fine. So I came home and I had already ordered this Keto Mojo. And I was going to use it when I was trying to do fasting. But because I had fallen into this health valley, I wasn't able to do the fasting. And so I already had the Keto Mojo. I will put the information for anything that I talk about in this video in the description below so you can easily find it. But I came home and I looked at my Keto Mojo, figured out how to use it, and the next morning I started taking my readings. It was eye-opening. It was astounding. But not as astounding as the fact that I did sit down and start counting my carbs from the day of my appointment. And from what I knew to look for carbs in, I had consumed about 79 grams of carbs that day. But then I learned that there were so many hidden carbs in so many things in my house, and I had no idea. And as the next few days went on, I started learning more and more, like where I was consuming carbs that I hadn't even considered looking at. So what I discovered with the Keto Mojo was just shocking to me. And that information has been changing my life, seriously. And it is helping me in so many ways. And I'll talk about that as we go on. So as I said, I was eating so many hidden carbs that it was just so surprising to me how many things had carbs in it. But I realized there were just some myths that I was believing that I have learned were false as I have gone through this last 2 weeks. So let me share some of those with you. Myth number 1, healthy food can't be sabotaging you. It's healthy. Wrong. If you're eating that healthy oatmeal that's recommended for women over 50, you're eating 27 grams of carbs just in the oatmeal. I was religiously eating beets to help with my blood draws and my IVs. Those beets were shooting my carb numbers up so high. And the nice organic berries that I was just eating by the cartonful, yeah, that adds a lot of carbs. Did you know that an average serving of berries is 1/4 of a cup? Yep, I do now. Myth number 2, fruit is unlimited because it's natural. Yeah, it's naturally glucose. That large apple that I was eating as a snack with peanut butter was 25 grams of carbs. Myth number 3, complex carbs don't spike your blood sugar. Really? Reality? My healthy brown rice was converting to glucose just the same way that the white rice did. The truth hit me pretty hard. Healthy food isn't healthy if you're eating too much of it. And your body doesn't care if carbs come from quinoa or candy. It's all glucose to your system. So let me share some of the hidden sources of carbs that I discovered. One of my favorites, GEMS multivitamins. They're chewable, made from whole foods multivitamins. I love them. I was taking them every day. 6 grams of carbs. My probiotic pills. Probiotic pills. 4 grams of carbs. My favorite sparkling drink, Spindrift, has anywhere from 1 to 4 grams of carbs. My favorite flavor, 4 grams of carbs. The isogenics shakes that I was trying to use up and to take to lower my weight before I made this trip, 24 grams of carbs. The omega-3 fish oil that I bought to help my brain and to make my skin pretty and to make me stronger, 6 grams of carbs. Half an avocado, 5.9 grams of carbs. Balsamic vinegar for a tablespoon, 2.7 grams. 1/4 cup of raspberries, 3.7 grams. A glass of wine, depending on the sweetness, 4 to 10 grams. Lemon juice, a tablespoon, 1.1 grams. And the weirdest one night at 11 o'clock, I started having a coughing fit. So I got up and I put a cough drop in my mouth, went back to bed, slept through the night, got up the next day. I did my glucose and ketones reading and found my numbers were completely off. I went out of ketosis and my glucose was spiked. And I realized the cough drop had 1.1 grams of carbs, and that was enough to cause my system to get a little stirred up, and it messed up my numbers for the day. So I began my keto low carb journey, and here is exactly what I did to drop this weight quickly in less than 2 weeks. So first, for my morning routine, I changed things up a bit, and I started first thing in the morning now doing HRV, which is heart rate variability, breathing exercises, and then I go right into doing meditation. And I do that in the morning, and then I do it again right before I go to bed. And that has really calmed my system. When I started this 2 weeks ago, my heart rate variability was on average 17, which is horrible for my age. It should be between 43 and 63. But after 2 weeks of doing the heart rate variability breathing in the morning and evening, along with that meditation, my numbers have been in the high 30s. The next thing I would do is go downstairs and immediately test my glucose and my ketones with my Keto Mojo. Then I would prepare my AM morning drink, which is a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of lemon juice, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda in 16 ounces of water. And I drink that down. After that, I head out for my AM first light walk. And I do that wearing my weighted vest, and I just go out, no devices, no distractions. I go for 10 to 20 minutes, getting light in my eyes, and I pray and I praise. When I come back from that, I drink another 16 ounces of water with sea salt in it. Those are the major changes that I've made over the last 2 weeks when it came to just setting myself up for a very successful day and also just doing good, kind, loving things to my body. I also started following my body's signals. I started really following the instructions that my Aura ring was giving me. I learned things like working out after 6 p.m. will negatively affect my HRV and my glucose and ketone reading in the morning. I also discovered that being on any kind of device after 7 p.m. hinders my progress too. So I stopped doing that. Now let's get down to brass tacks. Week 1. Can I just tell you? It was awful. I'm really grateful. I had volunteered to work VBS that week because I had at least that distraction first thing in the morning. But I felt very weak. That week, I was having trouble getting enough calories because of the fact that it was really a challenge to me to get enough calories and enough protein while not getting more carbs. So I learned very quickly that my body really loves 38 grams of carbs. That's my sweet spot. That is the place where I get into ketosis. That's the place where my blood sugar looks the best. It's just my body's happier there. So I was just finding it very challenging to get enough calories to have enough energy. So I walked a lot slower that week, and I immediately realized I had to listen very closely to my body. And instead of demanding 15,000 steps for myself, I lowered my step count to 10,000 that week. I did not do strength training, and I just was very calm and gentle with myself. I remember that Sunday when I first started doing this, we went to do a normal hike that we do along the water, and my husband takes off at our normal clip, and I'm back, and he realizes I'm behind him, and I said, listen, I'm just going to go with the fact that it's really good that I'm out here today getting fresh air and exercise. But this is as fast as I can go right now. Like, I'm just tired and I'm hungry. And so we just slowed the walk down and we enjoyed it, and it was wonderful. And the next 2 Sundays after that, he noticed each week I was getting faster. So I did adapt to the lower calorie. It just took me a little time. And I really stayed focused on getting enough protein because I'm very aware of how people can go on these calorie deficits and then lose all their muscle mass. And I did not want to lose my muscle mass. So I made sure I was always getting between 99 and 115 grams of carbs. And that was the most I could get in keeping my calorie deficit and keeping my carbs down. Now, week 2, I started to feel better. Week 2, I was starting to adjust to the lower calorie intake, and I started trying to finish up eating earlier, at least 2 to 3 times a week. But I'm going to tell you, honestly, I've done it almost every day in this past week. And I try to be done eating by 3 o'clock. And my body has really loved that. My ketones went right up. As soon as I started implementing fasting from 3 p.m. to 7 a.m., my body was like, you go, girl. It really just fell into line with that. So you'll have to find your sweet spot, but that's what it was for me. And it opened up my evenings for me. Like when you're done eating by 3, I suddenly was like, oh, I could do some extra work. It really freed me up to get more things done. And it cut my grocery bill because, I'm not doing 3 meals. So that was a nice little bonus. Week 2, I also started walking faster, and I was also able to add in some strength training. So that has been really helpful. And I continue to follow my Aura Ring instructions every day. I'm like watching and listening to my body and doing what it tells me to do. Now, here's the nutritional changes that I made. I counted carbs and protein religiously. I will say my average carb count was anywhere from 1,100 calories to 1,500 calories. My average protein count was like 98 grams of protein to like 115, I think was my highest day. And my carb count ran from anywhere from like 33 grams of carbs to 42 grams of carbs. But I noticed whenever I did 42, I would have lower ketone numbers in the morning. So I really did find that my sweet spot was 38. When I went back to my medical provider who was helping me through this, I told her I was really hungry and I was having a hard time getting enough calories. And she advised I needed fat, good fat, like olive oil or Irish butter, coconut oil, or avocado. And once I added those things in, everything just really improved a lot. I was much less hungry and I was able to get more calories in to where I felt like I was doing something good for myself. And I also made a few lifestyle shifts. I started going outside to walk more. I found over this 2-week period, I didn't do my regular treadmill one time. I did use my walking desk and that treadmill, but for the most part, I started this process when we were in perfect weather here in the Pacific Northwest. And so I've been getting outside to walk as much as possible. And that has been really good for distracting me too. When I'm really hungry, getting out and walking has helped to take that urge to eat away. I improved my self-talk dramatically. I started really paying attention more to the food that I was eating instead of just mindlessly consuming it. And I've really slowed down during my meals. And I was just processing like my thoughts on the food and not just trying to hurry up to get on to the next thing. And I found that like food tastes better now and I'm enjoying it more and I'm smelling more. Like all of my senses around food have gotten very exaggerated. And I find that to be pleasant. And then I also had no alcohol. Now I have learned that a martini has no carbs, but I have not partaken in any alcohol. The main reason was I was so committed to losing this weight for this trip so that I did not have to go out and buy new clothes. So there are some other things that really helped me a lot on this journey. One of them, pure gum. Now, I've chewed pure gum for years, and I absolutely love this brand because it's made with xylitol instead of aspartame or any bad sweeteners. But I have chewed a lot of pure gum over the last 2 weeks to just give my mouth something to do when I want to be eating. The one thing that's helped me so much is Claude AI. Every morning since I started this journey, I have taken my readings for my glucose and my ketones, and I have gone to Claude and put in my readings and asked how I'm doing. And Claude has been so helpful. And so if I have a reading that concerns me, I'll go in and say, I have this reading, it's concerned me. Like, should I be worried about this? And Claude has been amazing because let's face it, at 5:30 in the morning, that's not really the time you're going to call your healthcare professional and say, hey, should I be worried about this reading? Claude has been awesome. If you've never used like Claude AI, seriously, it's incredible. And it helped me so much through this process. He gave me ideas for things I could eat. He gave me ideas for how I could have a better ketone reading. Like, it was incredible how much information I got from that. And then my good old scale. And I weighed myself every day because I had such a short time to reach my goal that I wanted to be aware if there's anything that was hindering my progress. And so that way, if there was, I could make the adjustments that I needed to make. Another thing I found helpful was Element. Having that electrolyte drink every day was just really good for giving me nutrition and electrolytes, and it helped my brain, and it just helped my taste buds, and it made the process a lot better for me. Getting out to walk really helped. Like when I really wanted to eat and I'd get out walking, I would forget about eating. Having a clear and concise goal that was non-negotiable really made a difference. Seriously, I had 2 weeks. That was it. If I couldn't lose that weight, I had to get out and go shopping to find clothes that fit. I had 2 weeks. That was it. And I didn't want to go buy new clothes. I liked my clothes. I wanted to wear my summer clothes that I already had, that I've been wanting to wear in a warm environment, right? I didn't want to go out and buy new things for a body that I didn't want to keep at this size. So I was really strict. I had a non-negotiable date and I had to get things done. And then I also used MyFitnessPal, the free app of that, to track my carbs, my protein, my calories, all of those things. And that was really helpful. So here's what this whole experience has taught me. The Keto Mojo gave me so much power. For the first time, I had data instead of guessing. Having that data helped to calm my celiac mind. And I realized something that was really incredible. Before I got diagnosed with celiac disease, I was starving to death. So my body and my mind are trained to panic if I'm hungry. I'm starving, right? That's how my brain sees it. If I'm hungry, I'm starving to death. And so I have always fed that. And now having the number, seeing the actual number of my glucose and knowing it's healthy, I found myself when I'm hungry saying, hey, you're okay. We just checked your glucose numbers. They're really good. You're fine. And so it helped me to calm my celiac brain. And I found that to be so empowering. So now I'm not eating more out of fear of being hungry. When I get hungry, like I'm hungry right now, and I'm okay. Like I'm not panicked about it. And that's just amazing. I found too that you appreciate food when you're eating less of it. Every meal has become more intentional and more satisfying. And I also learned there is no one right way for everybody. This has worked for me. It has worked beautifully. I have never lost this much weight this fast. So what worked for me, though, might need some tweaking to work for you. But these principles were solid. Like, here's the widely accepted information that surprised me the most. When I was looking into what is the ideal carb count for a woman, I think it explains why women over 50 struggle so much with their weight. The standard nutritional guidelines will tell you this. If you are a woman eating a 1,200 calorie diet, you need between 135 and 195 grams of carbs. I don't even know how you eat that and only eat 1,200 calories and get enough protein and fats and all those things. I don't think that's possible unless you're just eating a bunch of carbs. If you're a woman eating a 1,600 calorie diet, they recommend 180 to 260 grams of carbs. Eating a 2,000 calorie diet, they recommend 220 to 335 grams of carbs. Eating a 2,400 calorie diet, they recommend 270 to 390 grams. Now, I will say this. If you are a major weightlifter, runner, like do some major heavy sports, that would be the exception. You would be the person who would eat those kinds of carbs. But if you are a woman over the age of 50, trying to figure out why your middle keeps getting bigger, even though you work out, you eat right, you exercise, you do all the right stuff, if you're following those guidelines, that's probably your problem. So here's what I learned. These numbers did not work for my body. Through glucose and ketone testing, I learned that my sweet spot is 38 grams of carbs per day, not per meal. Your body might be completely different. 50 or 60 might work for you. The only way to know for sure? Test yourself. So here are my results over the 2-week period. My HRV went from an average of 17 to a new average of the high 30s. My weight is down 8 pounds. Inflammation has gone down dramatically. Didn't even realize how inflamed I was. My blood sugars are stabilizing. I'm calmer and more centered. My sleeping has improved. And I've saved money on groceries. You can't talk about all the good results without talking about the negative ones. And there were some. Most positive changes come with some level of discomfort. So here were some of the negatives. That morning drink I talked about, the apple cider vinegar, lemon, and baking soda, well, it's to cleanse your liver, to get rid of some toxins. And let me tell you, it works. The bowels were, shall we say, explosive. But I will say, usually was only in the morning and then it was fine after that. The hunger. Yeah, I was hungry. And at first it was really hard. Now I have come to feel very comfortable in my hunger and it doesn't stress me and I'm okay. The carb challenge. That was really hard. And continuing to identify new things that have carbs that I didn't realize has been a bit challenging. Having to slow down my workout and not push myself in the way that I like to was a bit of a challenge, but I did it. And the waiting was really hard because I had tried all these things and nothing was working and it was just working against me. So waiting to see at first whether this was going to work, whether this was finally going to be the thing, that was hard. I didn't want to be disappointed again, and I'm so grateful that I wasn't. So was it worth it? Yes, absolutely, totally worth it. I'm so glad I did it. And now I'm going away for 10 days, and I'm not going to just eat whatever I want. I've worked too hard to get to this place. I'm going to probably go up a little bit on my carbs to be on vacation, and I'm going to enjoy myself, but I'm going to still implement a lot of what I learned and be wise about how I treat my body. One of my healthcare professionals really made a good point, and I'm going to be thinking about this on the trip. He said, go and enjoy your trip. He said he has these general rules when he goes on trips. He said one bad meal, like if you want to have drinks and dessert and bread and all that stuff, it takes 3 good meals to make up for that one meal. He said, if you blow it for an entire day and you just eat garbage all day long, it takes 3 days of perfect meals in order to make up for that one day. And that made me think, wow, I don't want to have a day that I blow. If I go out and enjoy myself for a meal, I would much rather just have to do the next 3 meals healthy. So that's a really good point to remember. One meal, it takes 3 meals to recover. One day of bad meals, it takes 3 days of perfect meals to recover. Remember that. And I'm just really grateful that I've learned all of this because I can go have fun. My goal is to maintain where I've gotten right now. So when I come back again, I can start this all over again and then hit that last 9 to 11 pounds that has been plaguing me for the last 2 years. So here's what I want you to do right now, and it is crucial. First of all, if this video helped you to see weight loss differently, would you mind hitting that like button and subscribe to this channel? Because every week I am sharing information that helps you to live out your purpose with passion, and I don't want you to miss any of those. But more importantly, I want you to take action today. Order your Keto Mojo. Seriously, get this thing and start getting control of your life. Start tracking your blood sugar and your ketones every morning, 30 minutes after you wake up. You might be as shocked as I was. And here's my challenge to you. Comment below one hidden carb source that you've discovered in your diet. I really want to hear about it, and I will comment back within 24 hours. And when you're down there in the comments, I just have to say, at the filming of this video, I am 1 month away from my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. And I'm going to use that date on August 26th to answer all of your questions. So if you have any questions you've been dying to know about me, put them in the comments below. I will answer those questions on my 1-year anniversary as we celebrate 1 year of Carrie On. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper, I have compiled a list of 50 hidden carb sources that might be sabotaging your progress. The link is in the description below. Go grab it now while it's still fresh in your mind. Remember, your body is unique. What works for me might need some tweaking to work for you, but knowledge is power. Start measuring, start learning, and start seeing results. And if you want to know how changing your mindset and your mouth can also affect your progress, you'll probably want to watch this video right here. And until next time, carry on.